What's up, guys? It's Andy. She blinded me with refractors, and today we're returning our series Grown Men Talking Baseball Cards with Michael Moeller, Double X the Beast. I'm going to split this video into two parts because we ran a little bit long. We hadn't made an episode in a while, so I think it turned out to be like an hour and a half of us talking about different things. So part one today, we're going to be discussing Michael's journey, kind of starting his collection over, and some of the difficulties and obstacles that come with doing that. And then we're going to get into Zion Mania a little bit, and then I'll put out part two maybe in the next day or two. In part two, we discuss it's really not as much about cards. We kind of get into a couple of topics just sports wise that could, I don't know, some people might think they're somewhat controversial, but once again, it's just our opinions on these things. So I'll put that out as part two, so be looking for that here in the next day or two. But let's get started, guys. All right, guys, what's going on? After a little bit of a hiatus here, we are back with Grown Men Talking Baseball Cards. I'm Andy. She blinded me with refractors. This is Michael, Double X the Beast. So what's going on, Michael? It's been, what's it been, like 5 months since we've done one of these?
Yeah, I probably early May, I think, was the last time I was almost done selling my Grant Hills, I think, at that time, and got them sold, finished selling the house. Finished buying the house, get all that stuff closed, and then we remodeled for a while, got moved, getting settled now, all that stuff. So it's been a long last 5 months. I know that.
Yeah, it's funny because we were just talking before we started this, like how long it's been, and it's just weird because I mean, I don't know, we probably talk on the phone probably 4 or 5 days a week, and then
Probably, yeah.
and yet we haven't been able to put one of these together for a while. So
No, yeah, it's been a while, and I haven't really been collecting. I've been kind of, just floating, not knowing what to do as far as collecting. But I also, I got sick in the middle of it again. I hadn't been feeling good. 2 weeks ago, get diagnosed with lupus. So let's go ahead and throw that in the middle of all this crap. So it's been a long last 5 months. So, but I'm starting to collect again, which is fun and gets the juices flowing a little bit.
Yeah, that kind of leads us into the first topic here tonight. And what I was going to have you talk a little bit about is basically the difficulties of restarting a collection, because most people are going to know you from, collecting Grant Hill cards in particular, but definitely like basketball, 90s basketball stuff. And, I think we both kind of went through this a little bit before. Whenever you sell a collection or piece it out, whatever, start over from scratch, you're kind of like, now what? So how has that whole process been going for you so far?
Not good. Yeah, I am. I'm kind of known, collecting Grant Hill, 90s basketball. Years before I was doing solely that, I've collected everything. I've done prospects baseball. I've done some very little vintage, but a little bit of vintage, cut autos for sure in baseball. So getting back into collecting, I decided, I'm gonna start buying. I'm happy about collecting again. I'm enthusiastic, and I started buying some stuff, and I'd get stuff in, and it felt somewhat meaningless to me. It's just I can't put my finger on what I want to collect because I kind of pigeonholed myself for 5 or 6 years where I only collected one player through one very specific time period. And man, that's tough. It's tough to climb out of that because I kind of felt like I had one of these very complete player collections. And when you player collect, you live and breathe that player. I mean, you have to do that. And now I'm on the flip side. I'm not collecting a player. I don't like to collect sets. So I'm trying to figure out what it is I'm going to collect moving forward. I've been buying some silver refractors, just Bowman stuff, some prospecting, and also on the flip side, in the last 4 or 5 years that I haven't really prospected at all, I've came to absolutely despise some of the designs of the newer ones, and certainly absolutely despise some of the different refractors, shimmer refractors, and all this damn stuff that just is some of this false value, which I just could care less about it. And purple refractors aren't supposed to be numbered at 250; they're supposed to be numbered at 10. To me, just things like that I've struggled with a little bit. So I'm really just collecting base silver refractors. That's just kind of my thing right now. And then I'm going to stick to the traditional colors, orange, gold, red, and blue, probably. Nothing else. I don't, the black refractors and green refractors and shimmers, somebody else can have those. I don't care about those. But even with that, it's not filled the void of the Grant Hill collection. So what has filled the void and what I've thoroughly enjoyed lately is comic books. I told you, it's kind of it's definitely filling that void. I used to be a big comic book collector too. I had a ton of them, and now I haven't collected any really in 6, 7, 8 years. So it's been very enjoying for me to get back into buying some of those. I probably bought 15 or 20 just in the last month. But other than that, man, I'm still finding my way. And I'm thinking maybe buying some baseball and football 90s stuff, inserts and parallels, but I'm definitely not going to collect one player. I'm not. I just can't do that. It's too tough.
Yeah, and I think this is not the first time really that you've basically started over a collection from scratch, and I've done the same thing throughout the years as well. Like I've collected different sets, and it's like you said, like that whatever that set or that player or whatever it is, like if you're so focused on like one particular thing, that it becomes like your collecting identity basically. And once it's gone, you kind of like ask yourself, like, who am I as a collector? Like you don't even really know like what to even look for. But at the same time, it is kind of refreshing because it does become a little bit tedious at times whenever you're only looking for one specific player or set or something like that. And you really you can't like dabble in this and dabble in that. So it kind of like opens up this whole new world, and you just kind of have to figure out, where to go basically.
Yep, you do. And I mean, you did it. I don't remember how many years straight it was with the George C. Miller collection you did, but it was a couple, I think, if I remember right. And
yeah,
you get all of your funds tied up in one part of the hobby, and it's tough. I mean, it's tough. And I mean, just coming out of it, like I said, I think at the end of the day, what's really hard for me, it's just not much gets me excited. I mean, I see stuff and I'm like, yeah, it's kind of cool, but do I really want to own that? Or, and that's what's tough is feeling that way. But deep down inside, I'm being told, I need to buy something, I need to collect, but you don't really know what. But definitely don't want to buy a lot of low end stuff now. I'm more, just probably not much. It's under, $100, couple $100 in value. I'm going to have less stuff, but maybe nicer stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, one thing that I like to do, and some people, there are people out there that, everybody collects their own way, right? Everybody has their different style of collecting. A lot of times, like if I'm not really sure, like if there's not really something out there that I just like gravitate towards, but yet I feel like I need to buy something, right? I like to buy stuff that can, easily be moved, like something that maybe somebody else is going to want in a trade, or, something that you can easily sell. That way, if something, really does catch my eye at some point, it gives you, you're basically collecting something along the way, but you got
a liquid collection.
Yeah, you have a bigger goal in mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've been doing that. I've been doing a lot of that with my retail I've been chasing clearance retail and and buying some of this, lower to mid-end things that I can grade. And then, if I can sell a few $1,000s worth of them here down the road, I'll buy one or two really nice cards that I want to keep. And
Right.
that's exactly what, it's exactly what I'm doing, because that also makes it fun, just to see what you can accumulate over a period of time.
Well, and it's a great way, like, if let's say you have like a big card in mind that you want to get, and you don't just want to like sit there and not buy anything for like 6 months so you can buy that card. You can buy stuff along the way, and that way you can, sell that stuff whenever you get enough of it to where you can get that big card, and you still get to collect. And, some people collect and they never sell anything. Like I know several people that do it that way, but I'm just not that way. Like if I really like something when I buy it, and then later on, 6 months or a year later, I'm like, yeah, I really don't want that anymore. Like I don't feel obligated to keep it just because. Like I don't have no problem moving something that I'm not really wanting to keep if there's something out there that I like better.
Yep. No, I agree. And it's having some of these cards, especially ones that aren't low serial numbered, there's that you could replace it later down the road if you wanted to. Yeah, those are for me, those are pretty easy to sell. I don't really have a lot of remorse on selling those now, unless it goes crazy value somewhere down the road. But I don't have much remorse on selling those. If you got something pretty rare, those are tough.
That's a tough stuff to sell. It's something that that you may not be able to get ever again. And when you sell that kind of stuff, and we've both done that too. Like I've sold stuff that I couldn't replace it, and then you've sold Grant Hill stuff, obviously, that it's
gone.
It's gone. Once it's gone, it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah,
basically. So what kind of tell everybody what kind of retail stuff that you've been buying, because I know you had I've talked to you on several occasions where you've had you've picked up quite a bit of stuff just in one day, traveling to different retail spots.
Yeah, so I've traveled to Houston probably twice, I think, for work in the last few months, and then I've been going to the doctor in Lubbock, there in Lubbock, and so I take full advantage of all these trips. I stop anywhere that I can to buy stuff, and so really what I was hunting was Ronald Acuna Jr. I was hunting lots of 2018 clearance top stuff. So Topps update from 2018, hunting Soto in there. Of course, Series 2 from 2018, and then the holiday boxes. That was the holiday boxes have been the most fun as far as busting that I've had in a while. They're just interesting. They're cheap, $20 a pop or whatever. But I've actually got some of them here. I'll show you a few what I've got. But everybody's probably seen a million of these, but I think I busted 22 of the holiday boxes, and I believe it's 15 Acuñas out of 22. By average, you should get a little under one every other box. So that's, I killed it. And then I got one of the metallic, I don't know if you can see the metallic snowflake there much, but one metallic snowflake of him. So that's a huge success right there. That probably pays for, that one card almost pays for all 22 of my boxes if it'll gem. So those are just fun to chase down. Pulled a silver metallic of Gleyber Torres and Albies and some of the other better rookies too. Walker Buehler, his rookies in there. So it's just chasing those down is fun, and finding them is just a thrill. You don't find them very often. And then probably, which I don't know if I've got it right here, but probably, and then I was hunting down 2018 Heritage High Number also, and I only found one hanger pack that was beat up. I sent you a picture of how bad it was beat up.
Yeah, I remember.
But it had a long odds card of a trade card of Gleyber Torres, trade error. So or just an error. It's not a trade error, I guess. It's a wrong color on the front there. But just stuff like that's been fun just to chase down. It kind of takes you back to the roots of collecting, and it became hard for me to get to do that when I was collecting Grant Hill. I wasn't out chasing down a lot of this baseball stuff that I thoroughly enjoy. I was, worried about the next Grant Hill card that's going to come across eBay. So I've had a good time with it. I'm going to buy up every bit of it I can find too. So if I have to take another trip, I'm gonna keep buying that stuff. I think it's too good of a value not to buy it.
Yeah, and like you said, whenever you were collecting Grant Hill, you probably didn't have a lot of luck, finding any like '90s basketball retail at Walmart and Target nowadays. So
no, not much luck on those. It's even and that's the thing about even basketball. Period. A lot of the base rookies don't have the value like baseball does. You kind of have to get something better than just a base card.
Right.
A lot of baseball, I mean, the Topps update and, and some of these products that have really got popular the last 10 years, you don't have to hit anything crazy. You're just hitting the base card and it grades high and you can at least get your money back plus a little bit.
Right.
Basketball, Prism, I think, maybe a little bit with some of the Prism, but not like that, not like the baseball is.
Now, speaking of retail and basketball, Zion Mania. It's like it's a real thing. So, are you going to be out there looking for like Prism when it hits the shelves here pretty soon?
Oh yeah. I'll be out making the rounds. I've got 2 Targets here in the area where I'm at and 3 or 4 Walmarts. So yeah, I'll definitely be hitting those probably every other day or something for a little while as they're coming out. It's really hard to justify why you wouldn't if you're going right by them. I mean, honestly, how do you feel about it?
Yeah. For people that aren't like big basketball collectors, like they may not understand this, but every year whenever, at least for like, I don't know, I know for me probably like the last 3 years and maybe even a little bit longer for some people, but Prism started coming out in 2012, really wasn't that popular the first 3 or 4 years, but starting in like 2016, it's the day that Prism retail hits the stores. It's almost like a national holiday for basketball card collectors. Everybody's like running to their local Targets and Walmart, and used to be Toys R Us, but no longer. But yeah, everybody's out there, trying to find it. And usually, if you see it, especially the first couple of days, you pretty much buy everything you see.
Absolutely. No, yeah, absolutely. I opened a little bit of retail in 2012 when it first came out. I remember busting a little bit, and I remember busting a couple of the retail boxes. At that time, getting the full boxes. 2013, I busted probably 20 of the hanger packs at Target with the red, white, and blues. Probably threw away or discarded several Greek Freaks that I didn't even. He wasn't even on the radar at that time. I can't remember who was. Anthony Bennett, maybe, I think, wasn't that his year?
In 2013, I'm not sure. It may have been.
Pretty sure he was the guy, which is unbelievable that we even say that, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But and then you start, like you're right. Each year it kind of gained a little bit of momentum, and then at some point in time, it switched to where it was full bore the best product to get, especially retail. Retail, there's not really anything else that comes close to it, chasing it. And,
in basketball, there's definitely not. I guess like the closest comparison that I can think of for baseball right now might be like the last few years Topps update, the way Topps update has been.
The Topps Chrome update from last year, with Soto being in there, those definitely come to mind, but
really, if you think about it, really, like even last year though, the Topps Chrome update, like you could see that, like you saw it everywhere, like it would be sitting there.
It was everywhere.
Prism basketball, if you saw it somewhere, you better buy it because it wasn't going to be there next time you came by.
Yep, I agree, and that's the difference too with basketball and those releases. Is even Optic is that way. Optic it flew off the shelves pretty fast too. You know, pretty couple trips into Target or something like that, and I mean, you don't see it, and it doesn't get restocked. It's gone.
It's funny, and I was thinking about this the other day because we made a video like last year around the time that Optic basketball came out.
We did.
And after seeing like I know you haven't been following stuff as closely lately, but you've kind of seen what's been happening with Optic. Do you kind of feel somewhat validated by what has happened with Optic basketball? Because if you remember last year, whenever Optic came out, we were kind of both thinking along the same line as far as like this, it kind of feels like Topps Chrome. And we couldn't really figure out like why Prism was so much more popular than Optic. And if you've noticed lately, like especially
LeBron,
the LeBron James Hollow, but even Luka and Trae Young, like I think Luka, like PSA 10 Hollows are about the same price as Prism Silvers now.
It doesn't surprise me. To me, it's just a better looking product. You know, it's just it has a better feel. It probably has a smaller print run too.
Oh, I think it no doubt has.
Probably by half. I don't know the numbers, but Prism is just. I mean, they're probably still running the presses from last year's Prism now. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think like if in Prism, you know, Prism, it's kind of what a lot of people are worried about this year with Zion is how much of this stuff is going to be available, because I think over the last probably since like 2014 is kind of where they really kind of started making more of it, and then each year since then there's just been a little bit more. I know like
16's where it really increased. I mean, you know, you look at before that, you can, you know, they're not as easy to find sealed product, but 16, I mean, Blowouts had 16 and newer for, you know, since they've came out. So
yeah. And I was just kind of curious earlier. So I looked at the numbers on like PSA 10 silvers for the rookies, and like Luka has over 1,000 PSA 10 of the silvers, right? If you go all the way back to the first year, 2012, I think Anthony Davis has 18 PSA 10s and Kawhi Leonard has 30.
That doesn't surprise me.
Like I think there's way more like Luka PSA 10 silvers than there are like base cards of Anthony Davis graded. Period. Like not just 10s.
Not just 10s, just total. Yeah. That doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's their cash cow from a volume standpoint. I mean, think about that business model. They don't have to – I mean, there are autographs. Nobody gives a crap about the autographs, you know. But, you know, people buy them for the base cards and the silvers and so on and so forth. Man, they can run the presses on those like crazy. Don't have to worry about autos, you know, all this stuff. All they do is each year is throw in more crappy colors when nobody even really wants most of the colors other than gold or silver anyways. They just continuously make more and more colors and run the presses as much as they want, and people buy it. I mean, I'm one of them that buys it. I don't buy individual cards, but I damn sure buy the retail. So it's a heck of a good business model. I'll give them credit on that.
And I guess the question is like, at what point will the market not be able to really absorb all of the silvers in particular?
It's coming. I think it's close. I can't imagine year in and year out them delivering the quantity that they do and people still buying as much. Eventually the prices are going to come down drastically, even on the top players. It's going to happen. If Zion doesn't pan out, this could be a good year to kind of tip the scales back a little bit, I think. But if he pans out and the prices are still high, they're still going to crank them out. But, you know, what was Luka Silver Prisms right off the bat? I mean, weren't they like $600-800 for a PSA 10, if I remember right?
I think they topped out probably around 1,000.
Around 1,000. You know, what did you say they are now? A couple hundred, few $100? I don't even know.
No, for a PSA 10, I think they're like 700.
700. I don't even know. Yeah, I'm so far out of it as far as looking at them. But, you know, don't be surprised if in a year they're 500 or 400 because there's so many of them. If you want to buy one, you can get one, any day of the week. So Zion's going to be he's going to be a different animal though, because if he's as good as what people think and he plays up to that level, I mean, his are going to be crazy high, and Panini may wish they would have printed more. I mean, that's how crazy it might be. But I think the market's getting saturated on these guys for sure. Now, if Panini's still selling out, they're going to run the presses on them. I mean, it's not going to stop.
Well, it's interesting because it's been happening for a while, but like, I think there's so many new people that are coming into the community, the card collecting community, due to Zion. I mean, you've got just so many people, and a lot of these people are, not with Zion yet, but just different players. They're like hoarding these cards. Like, I mean, they're getting like 20, 25 or more of just one card of one player, and they're hoarding them. So I think at times the market probably won't seem saturated, but at a point, whenever some of these people decide to try to cash out on, some of these hoards that they have, I mean, I think you could definitely see a dip at that point. But I think right now the supply is not in excess yet on some of this stuff, just because a lot of people are holding it,
Does that remind you of one time period that we've went through, maybe the 80s, where people were hoarding, all these cards of one player, and and then when they go to dump them, there's no market. I mean, it's just gone. And
they're buying like the big, bricks.
Yeah, exactly. Players. Yeah. I mean, and it's not, they're not producing cards at that level, of course, but it's still – it kind of makes you nervous a little bit. If I'm buying Lucas at $700-800 for PSA 10 for a silver prism, I'd be pretty nervous that the market could just correct a little bit and be 500, long term. I mean, that's a lot of cheese to lose over if you have 20 or 30 of them.
Well, and I think that the card market has gotten big enough right now, and like it's always hard to predict the future, like how many people are going to stick around, how many new people are coming in, all that stuff. But I think right now when you look back at like the 80s and the 90s, whenever all this stuff kind of crashed, it was all base cards, right?
Yeah.
They were printing millions of some of these cards. And I can see some of the base stuff right now maybe getting to the point where, it could take a huge dip because there's just so much of it. But I do think that some of because really like Luka, like let's say there is 1,000, PSA 10 silvers. In the big picture, that's really probably not a lot because there's so many people out there that want that card, right? I mean, the NBA is a totally different animal than like baseball and even football because, it's international, global. It's, there's so many people. And with Zion coming in, I think a lot of the people that are coming into the collecting world are more focused on basketball than maybe these other sports. Would you agree with that? Or
no, absolutely. I definitely agree. The baseball is. I'm not gonna say it's not a dying thing, baseball cards, but I mean I think it's a different market. It's primarily here in the U.S., right? Basketball we all know, China, all of Asia, just lump them all in there. All of Asia is a huge market. Europe's a huge market. I'm with you. Maybe 1,000 worldwide. Maybe that's not too many Lucas, but. Is 5,000? It's 3,000. If Zion has that many, you know what I mean. That's gonna be the question that I think we're gonna find out, because I think they're gonna print a whole ton of them this year.
Well, and I think I think we've already gotten past the point where I think early on the silvers were they were rare. I mean, you'd get like
Yeah,
one silver per box, right?
yeah, they were
2012
hobby only at the
or
time.
two, maybe
At
even
first, two. Yeah,
two.
I think most of the time I got a couple in the
Right.
hobby boxes I opened. Maybe two, maybe three. I want to say maybe one box had three in it. I've only ever opened like maybe four boxes total or something back when they came out. But yeah, they were rare, very, very, very rare. And at the time, it didn't even feel like a big card when you pulled one. It wasn't
Right.
like a big deal. It was, we'd had Topps Chrome forever, and you're like, oh, that's cool. It's a shinier card than the other ones.
It's a refractor.
But it's a refractor. It's a refractor. But you didn't really think much about it. Actually, when they first released, I like the greens. I still do like the greens from the retail, but yeah, the silvers, they didn't feel like a big card, but yeah, they're really rare. I mean, there's not that many of each player at all.
Yeah, I think there's estimated on the 2012s like maybe to be like less than 300 of each guy.
Yeah, I think I saw 287 of each guy or something estimated or something like that.
So I think at the point we're at right now with Prism basketball, I think that there's no longer a perception that they're rare, but maybe we're not to the point yet where there's just like so many of them that they'll just come crashing down.
Yeah, so here's the question, and I was talking to somebody else about this not too long ago. Is the question that gets posed is how many 0304 Topps Chrome refractors are there of LeBron?
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
Yeah. But does it matter?
It doesn't matter. Everybody wants one.
People that want it.
Yeah, I would love to have one. I mean, most people who collect, that's a card they're going to want.
Right, and that's the thing. I mean, it's and obviously that's not going to be the case for every player. I mean, there's certain players that just have such a demand that yeah, they can absorb those kind of production numbers where others not so much.
Sure, no, absolutely. So, I guess one question I have for you is, how bad is this knee injury gonna affect, things for at least this first maybe 4 or 5 products that get released?
Well, I'm going to say that. I mean, I haven't heard too many people talk about this, but I would venture to say that my answer will probably be different than a lot of people because what it does in my mind is it gives like an additional 6 to 8 weeks to hype the stuff up during the season.
Yeah, while the other guys are playing.
While basketball is being played, because I don't think for 1 minute that within the next couple of months that anybody is going to forget about Zion.
No, they won't. But what I was thinking about on the flip side is, anytime you have that one superstar level guy, it always seems like 2 or 3, 4 of these other guys sneak in from the same class, and those are usually the good guys to buy because, I mean, everybody wants to throw their money towards that top guy. No different than the year LeBron, 0304 LeBron came out. Wade, Bosch, Carmelo, even maybe not as much as the other guys. For sure, Wade, he snuck completely under the radar for a while. And, I mean, he was arguably the best rookie for the first, 4 months of that season. And one of these other guys will step up and take that role out of this year's class. And so you're right, it may create more hype, but it may not be surrounded around Zion. It may be 1 or 2 of these other guys.
Well, I mean, I think there'll be some guys that probably, I think RJ Barrett, guys like that, they'll get a chance to kind of like, have a little bit more of the spotlight for a little while, but I really don't think that the hype for Zion will go down really at all.
No, I'm with you. I was thinking the exact same thing, not in the terms of more time to hype. I just think people know who he is. Even if you don't know anything about basketball, people already know who he is.
Right.
He's got he's got everything working for him. The athleticism. He went to Duke. Number 1 pick overall. He's got a catchy name, Zion. I mean, these things kind of matter in pop culture, right? And that's so people are going to notice him. He's not going away. Obviously, if he had a major injury and he missed the whole year or something like that, it hurts. But the best basketball player ever to play at OU, NBA level, Blake Griffin, he missed his entire first year, and You remember the mania that was around him when he finally did get to play. It didn't change anything. That hype doesn't go away. So I'm with you. I think he's going to be hot. I for sure think these first releases all the way through Christmas, early next year, it's going to be crazy. What these products do.
Yeah, and you mentioned Blake Griffin missed his entire rookie year. Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, those guys missed their entire first year. So it's not. I don't see it as a problem yet. Injuries happen. If it becomes like a regular thing for him, then yeah, that might cause some pause with people. But
I think Jordan only played 20 games his second year.
Yeah, he had a broken foot.
Broke his foot. He missed 60 games, 60 whatever games it was that year. Pretty sure everybody knows who Michael Jordan is. I don't think it hurt him out any.
He came back in the playoffs that year and scored 63 points against the Boston Celtics.
Yeah. So I'm with you. I think his hype. It's definitely the highest since LeBron. He looked phenomenal in preseason too. Which I know it's preseason, but he's good. He's really good. He's really popular.
So what kind of player do you think Zion is going to be? Because you hear all these different comparisons. I don't know.
I worry about guys that don't shoot the ball at I'm not going to say elite level, but at a well above average level. I always worry about those guys. Athletically, he's going to be top 5 athlete in the NBA right off the bat. Just pure athleticism, dunking ability, power, all those things. But I think he could be a Dominique Wilkins, but better. A little bit better as far as just being a more of a perimeter player, things like that. So I don't know why I always picture Dominique just the power dunks, the ability to play a couple different positions in what is now a positionless league. That's kind of the guy I compare him to, but definitely more of a guy who's going to be thought of as the best player in the league at some point. Dominique was never really thought of as the best player in the league. He was just maybe the best athlete during a few years of his career. I don't know. What do you think?
So, okay, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Okay.
So, we're going to put like all of like the team stuff, like, championships, that stuff aside. If Zion reaches his full potential, can he be as good as LeBron James?
If he reaches his full potential, can he be as good as LeBron? It's tough. It's tough. I would say no. Just because the NBA as a whole is different now than it was when LeBron came in. LeBron kind of created this super team idea. Zion's kind of going to have to come in and kind of deal with that, as a lot of teams have dealt with the last few years, or a lot of players have dealt with. I just don't see that he's going to live up to that. Can he be as good stat-wise, on a year-to-year basis? I think he can be very similar. Is he going to have team success and win at the level of LeBron? Probably not. LeBron went to how many finals in a row? Was it 9? Is that what it was?
It was something crazy.
Something like that. I can't remember the number. Zion's, I'd say there's less than a 1% chance that Zion ever has that kind of team success, just the way the NBA is now. Stat-wise, if you look at him on a per-year basis, I think he can be very, very similar to LeBron. Is he going to play long enough to get 30,000 points and everything like LeBron? That's also very tough. LeBron's played forever. He's still playing. He's still accumulating stats every game.
Yeah, LeBron, when we were both, watching NBA and collecting when LeBron came into the league. And, obviously I remember all the hype, as I'm sure you do.
Sure.
And LeBron is the rare case where he has turned out to be what everyone thought he would be. And
absolutely.
More. But whenever people talked about LeBron James, like coming into the league, he's pretty much been the exact kind of player that people envisioned.
No, yeah, I totally agree. Who was the last player that that high, of one of the higher caliber guys that has done that? There's not very many of them.
No, there's really not.
Very, very, very few of them have done that. Anthony Davis, when healthy, maybe.
But I mean, Anthony Davis, guys like Anthony Davis, I think Luka is doing it right now. But like those guys, the bar was not nearly as high as what it was for.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
No.
people, LeBron was supposed to be the next Jordan, next Kobe type guy. Like, I mean, like coming into the league, just going to be the best player in the NBA.
Yep.
And he has actually done that.
He's done it for most of his career. He has been the best player in the league. I mean,
so I can't say that I think that Zion will do that. But I'm with you. I think if he stays healthy, I mean, that's going to be the big thing. I think with him, if he stays healthy, he's going to be a monster because he can do things physically that just not many guys can do, and not many guys are capable of doing, and won't ever be capable of doing.
And not many guys on the defensive side that can stop him. And then you start looking at like what he's good at. He's going to be a good rebounder. Like he's going to rebound. He's going to be good on defense just because of his athleticism. He's going to block some shots. He's going to steal. We know he can finish dunking. My God, he may be even better than LeBron in that aspect. And LeBron's been ridiculous his whole career. It's going to be, can he shoot a little bit? Can he shoot good enough to become a dominant player? I think you have to be able to shoot some. Look at Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is one of the best players in the league, but I don't know if you'll ever consider him the best player in the league till he can shoot a little bit. Giannis is like that a little bit, but Giannis plays inside a lot more than Ben Simmons does at this point. But could Zion be as good as the Greek Freak? Yeah. I mean, absolutely, I think he can, that's scary in itself that we already think that. It's taken Giannis probably 4 or 5 years to really get up to that status.
Yeah.
And Zion, he may be next year. He may be as good as Giannis is right now, which that's crazy. And I sound crazy even saying that because I'm a huge Greek Freak fan, but Zion could be that good. I mean, he can.
I agree. And another thing that a lot of people – I remember this last year, like going into the 2018-19 season, a lot of people were kind of down on last year's draft class, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
People were saying, it's not going to be that good. There's no real stars in this class. I tend to think after what I've seen so far from these guys, like I think this is going to be let's see. I'm trying to think of what the last truly great draft class was. Has there been one since 2003? I mean, it's like just a crazy good class.
Not like that. I mean, hobby-wise, yes, the 2012-13, but some of those guys were in, they were split between a couple of years there.
Yeah,
right?
it was the kind of like the double rookie year.
Yeah, a little bit, but no, 03, 04 is the last. What I would say is great year. I mean, for sure. Nothing else has really came close.
Because I think basketball-wise and hobby-wise, I think out of last year's class, I think you've got two absolute monsters right now.
Luka and Trey.
Yes. What do you think about those guys, like long-term players?
I like both of those guys. I like some of the I like Bagley. I like Anthony Simons. I like there's several guys that I like too out of that class that may be a lot better than people think too.
It's a pretty deep class, really, if you start looking at it.
There's a lot of good players that one or two of them could turn out to be great players, and I don't know if a whole lot of other classes have had that in the last few years as far as depth. But, no, I'm with you. I feel you on that. And Trae Young could be Steph Curry at some point. I mean, similar. He's not Steph Curry. He's not the exact same player. There's only one Steph Curry, but he could kind of fill that shoes of the hobby whenever Steph Curry's kind of sliding out. I mean, that's what he could do. And then we know Luka can do it all. And Luka, he might be, one of the better all-around players in the NBA for the next 10 or 12 years. I mean, that he could have that role for sure. And he's definitely, I think what helps him a lot too, he's got, he's from Europe. And then he's got the clutch gene. Not many guys have that clutch gene. He's not scared to have the ball late in the fourth quarter. And that just, people love that. People collecting and people just watching basketball love that. And I don't know how many game-winning shots or into the first half, into the fourth quarter shots that he made last year. It was just tremendous.
Yeah, I mean, I look at these two guys, man, and I know last year a lot of people were like, oh, this draft class is no good. I'm just going to go back to buying like the 2017-18 guys. Everybody was super big on Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, which I'm pretty big on Donovan Mitchell. I don't know about Tatum yet, but I would definitely take personally, I would take Trey or Luka over either one of those guys, like for the long term, like hobby wise and just as an NBA player. I really think Luka and Trey both have like future MVPs in their career.
I don't disagree. I'd say Luka for me is a lot more of a lock for it, just because of the all around play. Trae Young, it's a point guard's game now. So there's a lot of good point guards, but not many of them that can do the things that he does. So you may be right. Luka, I would say I agree with that statement. Trey, I'm 50-50.
Well, and this is funny because heading into this season, I was probably higher on Trae Young than most people and lower on Luka than most people. And now I'm kind of like right here with both guys. Like,
right.
I mean, because I don't know if anybody was higher on Trae Young than I was because –
No, but you're a homer. You're an OU homer.
But I've seen him play so much. I mean, like –
Yeah. I have to.
Even in college, like I saw this guy make shots in college, and I'm sitting there watching it thinking, like, there's only one other guy in the world that can do what he's doing right now, and it's Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean and then Luka, like, I don't know, maybe I just kind of felt like he was a little bit too hyped. So maybe that, like, lowered my thoughts on him. But after watching him play these first couple of games, I mean – I'm right there with everybody else. I mean, he's ridiculously good. He's 20 years old, and he plays like, he's been in the league for like 10 years.
His mom's really hot, so he gets some extra points for that.
He's so polished. Like he reminds me, he's like the basketball version of Juan Soto.
Yeah, he just shows up and plays every day, and you don't really realize – how good he is, but he beats you constantly because he just doesn't make bad mistakes. And that's
I just compare those two because they're both like 20 years old and they both just have like such a high IQ for the game, and they just play the game like they've been playing it for 10 plus years. I mean, you don't see 20-year-olds in either of those leagues that play the way that they do, just under control and, I mean, just so polished, I guess.
You're not supposed to see 20-year-olds do that. I mean, you're just not. But I'm with you. I think those guys are good. And you mentioned the 17-18 draft class. It wasn't that long ago. Sometime last year. I put Tatum above all those guys. I thought Tatum was the guy, and he was really disappointing last year. Very disappointing. For most of last year, and he's going to have to really step it up. And be a dominant player for a while before myself and probably a lot of other people hold him and can even talk about him in the same sentence as Mitchell, Luka, or Trae Young. I mean, right now he's not even in the same league as those guys.
Mitchell is really good. I know that.
Really good. He's a lot shorter than we all thought he was too.
I think a lot of the guys are.
Yeah. I'd read on one of the forums or Instagram or something where people were, kind of talking about Zion not being 6'7", he's 6'6", and and I told you this, 1 inch on the way they measure is not a big deal because when he was in college, he may have got measured with shoes on at 6'7", and now he's 6'6". The ones that are 2-3 inches difference, that's crazy. That's just them inflating that number whenever they're kind of hopping them up. And then Buddy Hield, they have to do this age verification. I'm sure you saw that, where he's actually a year older than what they thought. I don't know if you saw that or not, but
Yeah.
he has never reported his age wrong. I'd read the full article. He never reported his age wrong. Just whenever he went to the league, somehow it got entered in wrong. And so they have just used that number ever since. Nobody's ever checked it, or it's never been corrected, which is crazy.
It's pretty funny.
It's very funny. He didn't do anything wrong. He's had the same birth date his whole life, obviously. And then when he was at OU, he had the right birth date put in, and somehow whenever he submitted to go to the draft, the wrong number got put in for the birth year.
I mean, as far as like the heights and stuff go, I mean, at the end of the day, does it really matter? I mean, like, I think Charles Barkley was like 6'4".
Yeah.
He played power forward in the NBA for 15 years, and he was MVP. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's not that the height stuff. I mean, they all lie about it. We all knew that. This is just verifying what we already knew.
Verifying it, yeah. But I was very impressed. I think Lillard and Donovan Mitchell were two guys that were like an inch or a couple inches difference, smaller than what they said. And both those guys can flat out jump out of the gym. I was very shocked at their numbers. Some of the guards, like I was actually thinking like guys that were listed at 6'3", they might actually be 6'4", and no, they were actually shorter. But that athleticism is incredible in those guys.
Yeah,